Wow. Hello. Today we're going to do head angles. So if you guys are ready, let's jump into it. Yeah. So what we're going to do is first, before we do the head angles, when you import your stuff, you notice that the model is a little bit messy all around here. So what we're going to do is we're going to prep them, clip stuffs inside your layers and such, and then we can do the head angles after that. So first of all, I like to do is change my background color to something darker because I don't really like fully white color on my screen because it hurts my eyes. You can drag around the canvas like this if you hold your middle mouse button. And then, if you notice, I have prepared some references for our head angles and our mouth angles. We will be using that later on. So for the head angles, I already prepared this in Clip Studio. You can do it on your own. You can always, I recommend you guys to do some references for your head angles to make things more natural. So these are the head angles that we're going to need. We won't need the left part because we're going to reflect the motion later on. So we can flip that later. So we're going to turn that off. What we're going to do first is we're going to turn off everything except the faces and the head parts. As you can see here, we're going to turn off these right here. Front hair, turn that off. You see that? The face is a little bit, it doesn't look great. So we're going to do clipping for the face. If you don't remember how to do clipping, I recommend you guys to go to my first video. I explained how you guys do clipping for your layers. So what we're going to do is click head base and Control C, or you can just click the ID manually, Control C. But I like to just click the head base, just click the layer and then Control C. And then press all the things that you want to clip inside the layer. And then Control V on the clipping ID. Like that. The same thing we're going to do with the eyes. For the eyes, it's a little bit tricky because we have a lot of stuff inside the irises, but we also want the things that are inside the irises to be inside of the sclera. If you just do it like this, you notice that the things that are supposed to be inside the iris is like bleeding out of the iris. So we don't want that. What we're going to do is now, what I need you guys to do is bring sclera L and sclera shade L above iris L folder. And as you can see, the iris L is covered by the sclera. We're going to take the ID of the iris base L and then paste it to sclera L clipping ID. As you can see, the sclera L is now clipped inside of iris base L. And then we're going to reverse mask it. So iris L is now showing. Yes. It's showing. Yes. And then what you're going to do next is you're going to Control C on sclera L. And then we're going to paste everything that is inside an iris L. We're going to paste everything inside iris L. And then we're going to paste the clipping ID like this. Now, as you can see, if you move around the iris, around the sclera, it's not like bleeding outside of the sclera like this. Yes. We're going to do the same thing with sclera shade L. We're going to Control C on sclera L. And then we're going to paste it on sclera shade L clipping ID like this. So now you have these inside of its own layers. Yes. So we're going to do the same thing on the right eye. Now, if you see that the color is a little bit not so appealing, so what we're going to do is we're going to select the shine R, shine to R, shine L, shine to L, and we're going to go to additive and then lower it down a bit so it looks nice and pretty. Yes. If you notice that the highlight here is covered by the sclera shade, we can always bring up the highlights above the sclera shade itself, so it's not getting covered by the sclera shade. See, it looks like this. Now we're going to move on to the neck. Right here is divided by neck base, neckline, neck shade, and everything inside of neck base. We're going to click on neck base, Control C, and then select everything except the neckline, and we're going to paste the clipping ID there so it's inside. So if you move around the choker, you can have like an illusion where the choker is like moving left and right inside of the neck base. Yes. The same thing we're going to do with the booba shadow. We're going to go to torso, Control C on the torso, and then we're going to paste it on booba shade clipping ID like that. The same thing with the ruffle shade, booba ruffle shade. We're going to click on the booba, Control C on the booba, paste it on clipping ID for the booba ruffle shade like this. We're going to do the same thing with the thighs. So go down, go to legs. You see that there's like leg R, hip frill, R3 shade. Okay, we're going to copy the ID for leg R, and then we're going to paste it to the clipping ID for the hip frill R3 shade. This is why I recommend that riggers have to name their parts properly, because it helps you to find parts easily. Now that we are ready to finally rig the head, we can toggle off the bottom and only have the head here. So what we're going to do is we're going to Control A. We're going to Control A and click this automatic mesh generator. Click this and go to not so heavy deformation. You got this, but you see how the line art for the head is a little bit, there's like parts of the mesh is not connected, right? We're going to do some manual meshing instead for the head. So go to head base, go to head base, Control E to go to the editing mode for the mesh, Control A, Control X, and then we're going to make our manual mesh here. So first of all, we want mirror edit to be turned on. Make sure that the mirror edit line to be positioned in the middle, right in the middle. So just go for the nose line and make sure that it's aligned. Now that you have that, we can finally make our mesh. what I like to do is to have the number of vertices go to 3, and then put like roughly around the face, like this. And then slowly add more dots and adjust to the shape of the face, like this. Now that you're done with that, you notice how the mesh is not connected with each other? We're going to make sure that it's connected. This is not how you connect things. This is how you align things together. If you notice, there's no blue lines inside of the mesh, right? There's no blue line. If there's no blue line, that means that your mesh is not connected to each other. So Shift E, and then turn off mirror edit, Shift E, and get yourself a eraser tool. Erase this part right here and this part right here. And then we're going to take this add point tool and make our own points. Like this. The same thing we're going to do at the top part. You see how once the mesh is like closed off fully, you notice that there's like a blue line, like a light blue line inside of the mesh. This means that the mesh is fully closed. Control A, press Control A, and then Control C to copy the mesh. Then press OK. Go to your headline. Go to your headline. Find your headline. Yes, right here. Control E, Control A, backspace, and Control V. Now you have a mesh for your headline too. So you're going to go to click headline and head base together. Hold Control, make sure. And then you go Control E, Control A, and hit bind. Now you have your head parts glued together. What this means that if you move like one of your parts, like your headline, actually move it, your head base will also move together. Now that we're done with that, we can start rigging. If you go to the parameter palette, you see that there's like the head folder and also the head XYZ folder. Where we're going to rig our head angles is in the head XYZ folder. The head folder will remain untouched. This is for our input only. We don't touch this part right here. So we're going to rig here. Okay? Now, go to your head reference. Toggle it on. And toggle all of the parts off. Like this. We're going to do head X angle first. So look for head L. Look for head L. Change the color to something different than the normal one. I like to go for red. And lower the opacity so you can see things properly. So we're going to follow the head angles accordingly with the reference. So select your head base and head line together and make a deformer, warp deformer, and we're going to name it as head XY. I like to put my warp division into 30 because it is a lot smoother that way, and I like to put my Bezier division into 4x4. Now, before anything, I like to make sure that the point here is in the middle. Make sure that it's in the middle. And once you're done making sure that it is in the middle, we can finally start rigging. So make sure before you rig stuff, you have to key in the keyform. So start with keying the keyform right here. When the head angle goes to the right or your left hand, we can press Y to toggle the deformation method, free transform. And we're going to hold this part right here, this point in the middle, and bring it that way to the right. Once you're done, it is roughly to the right, right? You can see how it moves now. Now, all we have to do is just adjust the head shape following the reference itself. Don't be afraid to move the points. You can always undo things if you made a mistake. Don't be afraid. Just do whatever you can. I like to avoid moving the gray parts one by one because it is too much of a hassle to do it and it takes more time. So just click on the Bezier instead. Once you're done with the head angle for the head shape, like this, you can click on the parameter that you have rigged the head angle in. Press this 3-bar menu, this show palette menu, and go to motion mirroring. Press OK. Now, if you notice, the head is moving left and right now. Also, I forgot to mention that we have to rename this mesh right here. Now that we're done with that, go back to your deform, warp deform. Go to the right. Now we're going to start rigging the eyes. So, if we go here, we're going to go from iris base R to brow L, and then don't forget the skin part of the eyes, which are the eye skin top L, eye skin bottom L, eye skin top R, eye skin bottom R. And then we're going to make a warp deformer. Name it as eyes XY. Yes. Make sure that it is aligned with the nose for the middle part. If it's not, hold Control and move it a little bit until it's like in the middle. If it's now in the middle, we can also move this part to this way. Hit Control and hold Alt to make it symmetrical. Now we can start putting the keys in, and then we can move the eyes, holding the reference. If you want to make the deformation a little bit smoother, then like this is not smooth, right? So we're going to go to Bezier type and go to Smooth All. Now you can see that it moves a lot more smoother. Once you're done with the rigging, you can finally go to motion mirroring and mirror the movement. Now you got your angle X for your eyes. Yes. But before that, you notice how the eyebrows are like sticking out of the head? We can copy the head base. Copy the head base ID. And then paste it to the brows. Select the brows. And paste paste the clipping ID. Now it's inside of the head, like this. Now moving on to the nose, I like to first make a deformer for my nose. Right here, the nose HL and nose head line. The nose HL and nose line, we're going to make a deformer just to make sure that they're together. We're going to name it as nose. Now that we have this, we're going to make deformer for each of them. So make a deformer for nose HL, XY, and then nose line, XY. Great. So now, you click both of the deformers that you just made. Key in the keys and move them to the right. You see how the nose is like not shaped yet? Right now? We're going to shape them now. So press Y and drag the bottom part like this. The same thing with the nose HL. We're going to press Y and shape it. You can also make the nose highlight a little bit bent. Like this. Once you're done with the shaping and stuff, once you're happy with the nose rigging, we can finally motion mirror it again. Now you see that the nose is moving left and right. We're going to do for the mouth. For the mouth part, we're going to click on the lip line top until the inner, and we're going to name it as mouth XY. This time, the Bezier is not at 1. The Bezier for the width is 2. And the Bezier for the height will be 4. You're going to make sure that it's aligned with the nose. Control. Drag it a little bit. Now that it's in the middle, symmetrical, we can now key in the key form and then move it. Follow the shape of the mouth using the reference. Once you're done, you can motion mirror it. Now for the blush, look for the blush, and then we're going to make a deformer, name it as blush XY. Put it at just 1, and then create. Look at it. If it's in the middle, then that's great. If it's not, you have to adjust the warp deformer again. Once you're done adjusting, we can key in the key form and move it. We can add the Bezier division. and then adjust the blush. Once you're done adjusting the blush, we can motion mirror it. Now you have the head angle for X. We can finally move on to Y head angle. You can turn off this and look for head up reference. And then we're going to do the same thing for the Y head angle. Change the color, change the opacity. Instead of making a new deformer, we can reuse the deformer that we used just now. There's a reason why the deformer are named XY, because it's for angle X and angle Y. Now we can finally rig the head up. Before that, make sure that you key in the form and move up, move positive 30, and then go up for the head. You don't really have to follow the reference fully, but if you want to follow fully, then that's fine too. But I like to be a little bit risky. Just a bit. Don't worry about it. Once you're happy with the movement for the eyes, then we can move on with the nose. So go to nose, click nose HLXY and nose line XY, key in the keyform, make sure it's at positive, then we can move the nose upwards, like this. Once we're done with that, we can move on with the mouth. For the mouth, key in the keyform and then move it upwards. If you have trouble like deforming the middle part like this, you can always click this X button right here, and then it should be away now. And then you can move things based on what you want it to move to, I guess. Now, we can move the blush. Move the blush upwards. You see how it's moving, it's looking upwards now? This is great. Now we're going to do for the bottom part, bottom angle, look for head down reference. And we're going to color it something like this and lower the opacity, and then we're going to follow the head reference. Now you have the head angle Y. There you go. Now here's the hard part. We're going to select everything that we have recorded our movement, and then we're going to link the parameters, and then we're going to go for synthesize corners. Make sure that your parameters are the correct parameter that you want to synthesize, and then press OK. Now, I know it looks weird at first, but we have our synthesized head angles. It looks a little bit weird, so we're going to fix that. I already included the head reference for the head L up and head down. I already prepared the reference for the corners, so all you have to do is just follow the reference. So look for the thing, change the color, and it's just rinse and repeat. Now we're going to do angle Z. This is going to be pretty easy. First of all, we want to close all these deformer, warp deformer folders right here. And then we're going to select everything, all the parent warp deformers. And then we're going to go to rotation deformer and name it as head Z. Create. Hold Control, hold Shift, drag it down to the chin. Now we go to angle Z and key in the keyform. I like to have my angle at 15 and negative 15. And that's how you do angle Z. Let's go! Now we're going to do the physics part. First of all, we're going to go to modeling and physics settings. Now we have brought to the physics settings window. We have this one. If we move X, Y, we don't see the model is moving, but we can see that the input is moving along. First of all, I want you guys to go to preview and settings of the cursor tracking. We're going to add another setting for the angle Z on right mouse button X. Not only that, we're going to add left button Y for body pose Y, left button Y for body Y, and body Z, right mouse button X. Press OK. Now we're going to make a new physics group. Name it as head X. Press OK. In the input, we want to put in the input for angle X because this is head X. Make sure that the angle is at 100. So make sure that the type is angle and the effectiveness is at 100. So you know that make sure the angle X type is make sure the angle X is on angle and the effectiveness at 100, the angle at 45, and then we're going to add a pendulum, name it as and then we're going to add a pendulum, and then we're going to go to the output, put in the angle XX parameter there. As you can see, if we move around, you see how the model is moving just a bit. This is because the effectiveness is... This is because the scale is too low. But before we do anything with the scale, I want you guys to change your shaking influence to 0.6 and duration to maybe 3.9, reaction to 0.8, and convergence at 1. Now we're going to increase our output. You see the model is like moving left and right now, but it's not moving fully left and right, so we need to increase the output a little bit more, maybe manually to 30. Increase it a little bit more. If it's not increasing too much, you need to increase it on our own. So it's just a matter of us playing around with the scale and see if we reach the maximum. You see, the augmentation makes the head movement has a little bit of a bounce to it. That's what we want. We're going to duplicate the physics group and name it as head Y. Now, all you have to do is change the output to Y, and the input to Y. Now we have our head angle moving. Now we're going to add head angle Z. So duplicate the physics group again and name it as head Z. Press OK. Change the angle to Z. And then add another parameter, which is angle X. We can have the angle X at maybe 20. Duration, we can change it to 10. And everything should be okay now. Change the output to angle Z. So you see how the head is like moving a lot more. There's a motion to it. You might want to increase the effectiveness for angle X so it kind of shows more. You can also reflect the motion, then it would look like this. But I like the motion for this one. And there you have it. We have our head angles now. Are you proud of yourself? I hope you do. This thing is really hard to do, especially without reference. So I really recommend you guys to do your head angles. Prepare your references before you start doing the project. It is to make sure that your head angles doesn't look really weird when you angle them left and right, up, down, top right, top left, bottom right, I don't know, whatever. Yeah, that's how you do the head angles. Now that we have reached the end of the tutorial, I hope you guys look forward for the eyes tutorial. We're going to do bouncy eyes rigging and very expressive one. So please look forward to it. Wow, wow!